Так, запись идет. Что лучше? Так, сейчас, секундочку. Пу-пу-пум. Блин, бегут, сука. Так, стрим есть. Так, по звуку вроде нет. Так, ладно, приступим. Так, ну кто будет это смотреть, в принципе, всем привет. Сегодня мы будем проходить основную сюжетку в геншине 4.2. Так, пока что не будем, потому что сейчас на босса сходим. Потом можем начать, в принципе, сюжетку. Так. Так. Так, запрыгал, вроде норм слышно. Так, сначала босса ебнем, потом саму сюжетку нужно. Сюда. Как я живу? Повезло, повезло, отлично. Что можно еще? Ну что, нажимаешь туда. Так. Так, в принципе, давайте пока еще это пройдем. Так. Почему я этого высыпал? Потому что я выбил эту. О. Конечно, я и не буду прям так пользоваться, но мне она нравится, так что выбил. Давайте-ка еще это отправим. Знаю, что для нее нужен хил и так далее, но мне как-то пофиг. Иди нафиг от меня. Сюжет что Жирных кэшей нету, ну все самое тут. Геншин. Давайте огонек. Ой, блять. Так, еще 2 осталось. У нас с художником, да? Или с кем? Где они? Так, купить надо. Окей. Купить-то купить. Где можно пешком? Сейчас собрал, сейчас. Сначала надо это займем. Нет, можно потом. Похилимся и можем начинать, по сути. Так, еда есть, давайте возьмем все.
Ad Astra. Thank you for
Все. Так. Что ж, начнем, пожалуй. Где у меня тут? Где можно так взять? Ну-ка. Давайте уже пишу это. Маскарад. вроде все. Это не обязательно писать. Ладно, так. Мне все равно надо, ну, окей. Так, сюда надо. Нет, ниже. Так. Сейчас видео будем записывать. Блять, какую-то хуйня, да, просто Флорида в тюрьме, вот это я понимаю контент. Флорида в тюрьме. Так, ладно. Давай, короче, так вот. Так. Ну что ж, всем привет. Сегодня я буду записывать основную сюжетку. Я тут, наверное, вот эту сюжетку будем проходить. Так что да. Ну, тут ивент еще есть, но через 5 дней буду проходить его где-то примерно. Будем проходить снова сюжетку. Я еще выбил Фурию. Мне она по характеру и по внешности нравится, так что я решил выбить. Так что да. Знаю, что она низкого уровня, но я все равно с ней буду проходить сюжетку. Если не пройду, то будет трудно, то я обратно лимитку поставлю. А так пока что с ней похожу. Да, я знаю, что ей нужен хиллер и так далее, но мне пофиг, в принципе. Как я сказал, я могу обратно поменять свои старые и свернуть ее миг. А пока я похожу с Фурей. Так, ну звук вроде нормальный, так что не должно быть громко, тихо. Но если так, ничего страшного будет. Так, приступим.
Now for a little rest after breakfast. Wait a sec. Isn't something important supposed to happen today? Oh, today's our big day! We're supposed to leave the Fortress of Mirapede! Come on, we've got to go complete the release procedure.
Ай, блин.
Please, sign here. This document will be effective immediately upon signing, and you two may exit the Fortress of Mirapede via the regular
It's been so long since we've been to the surface. Let's... Huh?
What's happening? I'm fine, thanks. But
Let's go ask the Duke.
А это куда? А, это Гризли.
Your Grace?
Ah, good to see you two. Is there something you wish to...
Yeah, what was with that earthquake just now?
Ah, that. The tremor didn't originate from the seafloor. In fact, it seems it came from the surface. Over the years of serving as the warden here, I have developed a sense for distinguishing between what occurs on the surface and what occurs underwater. Besides,
So the fortress is okay?
if you recall our last incident, if there really were a problem, there would be crowds of inmates in a panic right now.
Huh, you've got a point. Okay, seems we need to get back up to the surface. By the way, do you...
I believe today is this month.
Wait, seriously?
Ah, yes. Have you
Yep. It's you two. Are you leaving now? That's right. Today is our last day in prison. But now that Paimon says that, it doesn't feel like we were confined here. Oh yeah, Paimon feels fond of Then be sure to come back and visit.
If you've signed the release papers, then you're free to go. The guard.
You're not going to see us off?
I knew you'd ask. All right, sure. But
Well, you actually agreed. No worries.
ah, so you do have a polite side.
After being down here for so long, I imagine you must feel like you're lacking companions. Yeah, don't worry. We'll come back to see you. Paimon really likes the cafeteria.
I hope you won't be here as convicts the next time I see you.
We'll do our best to stay out of trouble. Well, it seems our work in the Fortress of Mirapede is finished. That's the end of another chapter in our journey. We should probably go report to him now. Next up, You're going to see Monsieur Nervillette? Please pass on our kind regards.
I'm sure just your regards will do, no?
I believe it would be...
You're right. I've heard the Palais has been terribly busy these days. Tell him that I hope he hasn't been overwhelmed by the recent
С ними поговорить можно, ну да. Мы с ними капитально не делаем. Куда, блять? А. Я уже могу сюда. Так, секундочку, я кое-что забыл. Так, это у нас... Я могу это сделать? Я не могу. Ладно. Так, я забыл ее возвысить. Секундочку. Так, в принципе, все. Чтоб поменьше умирало.
The Palais Mermonia sure is buzzing with activity today.
Halt! Huh? Oh, it's you two. Apologies. Monsieur Nervillette did say you'd be welcome at any time.
Excuse me. Would you mind helping me take a...
I'll be right there. Sorry, I've got my hands full here.
Everyone's so busy. Seems... Nervillette!
Hello. You've come at the right time, but you'll have to wait for just a moment, as there are some urgent matters I must tend to first. In the meantime, please, have a seat. If you'd like to have something to drink...
That's all right. We just ate.
Very well, then.
Let's take a break over there while we wait for him to finish his work.
Ошиблись часы.
All right. That should wrap things up for now.
Are you done with your work?
Yes, sorry to keep you waiting. Today should be the day you were released from the Fortress of Mirapede. And it appears that you've managed to...
That's right. And we came here to see you
A massive whale.
Do you have any idea what that might be?
Judging from your description, that cannot have occurred in any ordinary waters. A whale of that size and shape cannot usually be found in the waters of Tivat. Therefore, we can only assume that...
Immersed in primordial seawater? But how? And is he okay?
Most people wouldn't be capable of entering in the first place. I'm not completely sure how he could have gotten there myself. Yes? What is it?
Ah, right! Paimon felt it too! We asked the Duke and he said it wasn't from underwater, so we figured you might know something about it.
It turns out that I have just received a report about this particular matter. In fact, the source of the tremor was here on the surface near Poisson. After the shaking stopped, the water levels in the Poisson area rose.
The water levels rose? Oh no.
Fortunately, the water levels only rose for a short period of time, and have already returned to... If the change in water levels is connected with the leaking primordial seawater, then the situation in Poisson may be much...
Navia should be in Poisson, right? We need to go.
I would also like to go there as soon as possible, but I'm afraid I can't leave just yet. We must immediately formulate disaster prevention plans for the... I'll have to ask you two to go to Poisson first. I'll meet you there to check on the situation once I finish.
There's no time to lose. Let's get going.
Please be careful.
Oh no. What happened here? Navia should be around here, right? We need to make sure she's still... We haven't seen a single soul all the way here.
What will I ever do now?
Look, there's someone on the roof over there.
Just stay put! We're coming up! Watch your balance!
All right. I'm not young anymore. Help.
Oh, he looks pretty sad.
My leg. How could this have happened? It hurts.
Just hang in there. Help is on the way. You can...
Да, тотально здесь пиздец, конечно. Куда мне прыгать? Сюда? Спасибо, было легко.
She's over there. Hey, Navia, are you okay?
You're here.
We heard there was a situation in Poisson, so we...
Yes. As you can see, the water level suddenly rose.
Demoiselle! There was a wounded resident next to a building southeast of here. We've already transported him to safety, but we've run out...
He's wounded?
He fell, so it's probably a broken leg. He's pretty shaken up. When the water level rose, he desperately climbed up to the roof. Once the...
He jumped down then. Find the leader of Squad 1, and tell him to take the wounded resident to see a...
Understood. I'll take over his search and rescue mission in the meantime.
All right. You'll be in charge. I'm sorry. Where were we?
The situation in Poisson?
Ah, right. A little earlier, we suddenly heard a loud noise. At first, everyone thought that something might have exploded in the waterways. But before we knew it,
Что-то голос низким
water started... The rushing water seemed a little odd, almost like the unique color of primordial seawater. Some people, everyone on the street who happened to be close to the water, didn't have a chance to escape. Those who realized what was happening started to flee in a panic, desperately trying to get to higher ground. The Spina di Rosula initiated rescue operations as quickly as possible, but there have been a lot of casualties. The water that flooded the area contained primordial seawater, so the lower levels of poisson are still hazardous. To ensure no one knows if this could happen again. All we can do for now is try our best.
How awful. And all of this just came out.
It was quite frightening indeed. I only wish...
Is there any way we can help, Navia?
Thank you for being so willing to help in a moment of crisis like this. You don't know how much...
Don't say that, Navia. That's what friends are for.
Понятно.
Demoiselle, we've got a situation here.
I'll be right there. Sorry, I need to go for now.
And off she goes. Seems it might be a while.
Okay, the wounded are being tended to, and we finished a preliminary head count. More support has just arrived, so, of course, we should remain ready for anything, and continue doing our best to rescue others. Traveler, Paimon, would you two accompany me?
Huh? Right now?
Thank you.
Ну и лучше так, наверное, сделаем.
Not a lot of people here, huh?
Well, given the time of day and the whole situation in Poisson,
Right. That's how things are?
Navia? Navia, what's wrong?
Sorry. I just... Malus and Silver. They won't ever come back here again. What should I...
Huh? What happened to them?
Everyone agreed on the rescue plan, but still... They were helping evacuate the residents, but they couldn't leave in time, and they were caught in the seawater.
What should we do?
I've known them for so long. And I know they weren't afraid. I could at least hold a funeral for my father. And I know where he rests. But as for Malus and Silver, they're just...
Everything looks so clean after it rains. Even the gravestones. I didn't expect that you...
I can understand. Besides, the scenery here isn't half bad.
See, it's not just me. I always want to bring something when I visit Papa. Perhaps we might even have a picnic.
How could Master ever be upset with you, Demoiselle? Yet the cemetery is the home of those who have passed, is it not?
Buying yourself a plot in advance, are you?
No need yet. But when I do, I hope you'll let me be buried beside Master Callus, Demoiselle.
Hey, stop joking around.
I'm quite serious. That way, it will save us both the trip to see each other whenever you've...
That makes sense. In that case, could I be buried?
After all, besides you, Demoiselle, the two of us could certainly...
Personally, I believe we fill those...
Why are you bringing this up all of a sudden? Seriously. But I'd really prefer not to talk about this stuff. And what do you mean by saving me a trip? I'd promised to let them rest in peace here. But here I am. I'm sorry for letting you see me in a mess like this. I don't usually cry.
Paimon doesn't know how to help you feel better.
I had always thought I could make my wishes come true. But now that I think about it, that never Malus and Silver have helped me so much. But I'm so sorry.
You can spend as much time as you need here, Navia. We'll stay with you.
Thank you. Right now, by the way, you can have a look at this.
Obena, Khan, Burnett, Giverny, Francine, Karina, Daisy Ray, Joinville, Julianne, Esson, as well as Malus and Silver. So, everyone else is safe. But
it's okay. I know what you're thinking. And you're right. The overall outcome indicates that the cost was worth it.
right. Don't think that way, Navia. One person might... Malus and Silver were not the price for saving anyone. They're heroes.
You're right. Thank you, Paimon. What you said just now was...
Oh.
Seems you've become more eloquent in the time since we last met.
Не понял. А ты откуда здесь? Арлекина вроде, да? Я уже забыл ее. Арлекина.
The knave? What are you doing here?
Is everything going well on your side?
Yes, my people are carrying out the mission according to your request. All the residents of Poisson have been evacuated, and we're preparing to As for these supplies, we have everything taken care of. There is no need to worry.
Thank you very much.
Wait, do you two know each other?
We just met recently. Right, Miss Navia?
Usually, I would call this a coincidental encounter. But that doesn't quite fit this time. Thanks to the knave, Spina di Rosula received generous support from the Fatui, which allowed us to complete the rescue and evacuate.
Mutual aid is essential to fostering positive developments. We were already in the area, in any case, so it was nothing. That said, I must say that you're a lot sharper than you let on.
I apologize for all the ways in which I tested you previously. We've never worked with a Fatui, but my subordinates have reported that Fatui soldiers have been observing water levels and taking head counts in various locations. I hear that they've also prepared a large amount of emergency supplies.
This is nothing to brag about, nor do I intend to. It is simply the way of powerful organizations to act forcefully, whether they... As I've told this traveler before, I know of the prophecy, and I intend to prevent the impending. Lending your organization a hand was a natural first step in accomplishing that. As such, do not be...
Without your help, there would have been many more casualties.
Furthermore, I sincerely regret what happened to Malus and Silver. I only wish that my...
Don't say that. You and your subordinates, as Paimon said, Malus and Silver didn't choose to sacrifice themselves for any specific person. I've never liked hearing people put it that way. It's like trying to relieve pain by saying some noble-sounding words.
You're right. I'm sorry for your loss, Miss Navia. Water is life to Fontaine's people, and it also spells disaster. It's no wonder that people...
So, you're one who will try to change fate, then?
Of course. That is why I'm going to Hotel Bouffe de Thé. I still have some things to take care of. By the way, traveler, Paimon, one more thing.
Alright, then we'll just... Huh? This isn't right. Paimon thought you would ask us to walk with you for a moment.
That is a clever and useful conversation technique, which I do like to use when necessary. Traveler, I'm sure you remember that I said we could work together when we had the chance. You and I both know that there may be issues with the Primordial Sea. Previously, it was the Fortress of Meripede's sluice gate, and this time it was the water levels in Poisson. Indeed. Allow me to share the latest intel I've received from the House of the Hearths during some recent investigations. A child claimed to have discovered some ruins near Poisson. The ruins date back to ancient times. Judging by the dating of the ruins, they may be related to the prophecy and the coming crisis. The situation is becoming more urgent. My people initially came to prepare for ruin exploration. Unexpectedly, this...
So that's why the Fatui were already in...
I wanted to take the children along, but unfortunately, Linny, Lynette, and Fremine have all been dispatched to higher ground. Linny told me that outside of the house, the person they trust most is you, which is why I want to give you this task. The House of the Hearth's members see each other as family, but Linny, Lynette, and Fremine said that they also see you as such. I'm sure you already understand how earnest they consider their—
Oh, that somehow makes Paimon feel kinda...
The intel I just shared about the ruins could fetch a high price. But since the children consider you family, it's only—
Got it! So all we gotta do is go to some ruins, right? We can handle that.
Вообще.
Excuse me, but may I tag along?
You wish to join, Miss Navia?
But are you sure you're up to exploring some ruins? You need to rest.
Well, I'm sad, yes. But I can't. There's no point in being depressed while we still have a disaster on our hands. As my father's successor, I must live up to the hopes he had. Besides, I'm also doing this for myself.
Since you put it that way, I have no objections. What do you say? All right. The ruins are to the south of Poisson.
Okay, the three of us will handle it. Come on, let's pack up and...
Пешком идти. Окей. Вот и руины. Где вход, где проход?
So, are these the ruins the knave was talking about? Whoa.
They seem to be pretty ancient.
Let's go in and have a look.
Just be careful.
Проблема, у меня фурина не прокачана. Ну, как я сказал, если я не пройду данжен и все сдохнут, то в принципе я поменяю на старый отряд. Ну а так я с фуриной буду ходить пока что. Так. Они, по сути, быстрее, чтобы пятница началась, потому что у меня оружие 20 уровня. Так что из-за этого, скорее всего, я не очень будет полезно. Просто для реакции. Там пир или дембля. Так что да, по сути она просто так давит. Бесполезно. Что у меня? Ага, ну тут уже эти пошли.
Let's get it on!
Хилит у меня как? Хилит у меня так себе. Ну да, мне скорее всего отряд придется снять, потому что она взрывает хп и нихуя больше не хилит. Несмотря на то, что у нее слабый уровень, хилит она неплохо. Это не так прям сильно.
This place has also been contaminated by...
Yeah. And a lot of it, too. A Fontanian would most likely dissolve the moment they fell in.
Right! You can't go down if there's primordial seawater. It's too dangerous and it won't be any... don't get by my wrong. We're not saying you're used...
No, you're right. I can't do anything in this situation. I'll leave this to you. That complicates things. Maybe the only way left is...
In that case, do you want to wait for us here?
The water levels here are unstable, and there's a chance I'll go together with you. Perhaps we'll find the exit just up ahead.
All right. Come with us for now then, but...
Так, а мне похуй на воду или нет?
Let's try climbing over from the side.
А, то есть я сразу ухожу. Окей. Все-таки надо было со старым отрядом ходить, потому что у меня она все-таки слабая. А хила у меня нету, чтобы ее хилить и дамажить нам. Точнее. Хуёво. Ну, пофиг. Понял. Здесь враги не будут такими трудными. Хотя, скорее всего, будут трудными. А чё? Ни хрена себе камера. А чё с камерой? Не понял. А чё камера так отдалила, дети? Ни хрена себе камера отдалилась. А, куда? Сука. Ну вот, камера нормальная. Идем дальше. Ну-ка. Оп, камера увеличилась. Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой. Все, пизда. Больше нет навика. Жива. Али.
Demoiselle.
Huh?
Demoiselle, what are you doing here by yourself? Would you be standing here till dark if I hadn't come to...
Maybe she just wants some time to herself, Malus.
Hmm? Oh.
Yes, it would appear so.
I must...
That's quite possible. However, you were the one that's...
Oh, right. It must have slipped my mind when I dozed off. This is a familiar feeling, yet...
Is something the matter, Demoiselle?
Oh, no. No, I was just trying to recall why we came out for.
Do you remember Mr. Giverny? He'd requested our help before with foreign merchants.
We were headed to see how things were going with him at the moment.
Ah, right. Yes.
Oh, Miss Navia. Ah, Mr. Malus. And Mr. Silver, too.
How have you been?
I've been great. Thanks to your help, those bothersome merchants finally realized that I wasn't the one they were looking for. They were knocking at my door day and night. Even my neighbor, Obina, was getting fed up with them.
Sometimes force is required to calm.
That's right.
Oh, yes. Miss Navia, these are some flower seeds that I prepared. Please take them. I don't know what we would have done without your help. So this is a little token of our
Did you cultivate them yourself? Thank you so much.
Why, we can have as many pots as you'd like, demoiselle.
Perfect. In that case, we'll swap out some of the decorative plants.
Very well.
Wait. Something... Excuse me, madam. If I'm not
That's right. Is something wrong?
No, it's nothing. This is the first time we've ever met, but your name seemed... I've heard this name before. Sometime recently, I'm sure of it.
Типа она не помнит, что он сейчас во сне, типа, или в такой галлюцинации.
And why are there so few people around here?
We must mind the time, demoiselle. We still haven't...
Huh? We do?
Well, now, did you forget?
Miss Navia, here you are. I've been looking for you. Please, come to the Opera House.
My trial? Wait,
Yes, she's right, demoiselle. It's just about time now, so...
Oh?
Да, клоны пошли отлично.
Look, it's Navia. She's here.
And her two attendants are with her. Goodness, everyone's finally here.
There sure are a lot of people here to see the trial. And they all seem to be oddly... Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen. Why are so many people? And as for the judge...
Please sit in the defendant's seat. Don't worry, Silver and I shall accompany you.
All right. But are you...
Typically, it wouldn't be allowed, but today...
Hey, what kind of place do they think this is?
Come on. Do they have any idea what they're doing?
Enough with the whispering! Could someone...
My dear Miss Navia, have you not yet realized what you've done? In that case, allow me to explain. As all here know, you are Master Callus's successor, the head of the Spina di Rasula. After you took over the Spina, you treated all of us just like the late Master Callus had. If anyone in need reached out to you for help, not only you, but your butler, your subordinates, nearly everyone in the Spina di Rasula fought for the...
Wait a moment. Aren't you just...
Yes, correct. Absolutely right. And that is why you stand accused. You have helped so many people get... We are one big family, all of us who are from Poisson, inextricably linked. And with you being... Therefore, this fair and honorable court shall declare you guilty, and you shall stay here. You...
Huh? What? Everything you have said is correct. I have indeed done a lot for my hometown, and...
Oh, well, if that's what you...
How wonderful, Miss Navia!
Что за хуйня происходит?
I know all these people. Why are they laughing?
I seem to remember now.
Wait just a moment. This isn't right!
Malus?
What was that, Mr. Malus? Our conclusion is very clear and unanimous. Let the court judge her now. She's...
Stay here, Navia! You're one of us!
Demoiselle, don't admit guilt. This trial means to keep you here forever.
I wish to exercise my right to defend Our Lady. Mr. Joinville, you only know of Navia's goodness, but not...
She was born a free and independent spirit. She has never been tied down by anything. Indeed, even the...
Her actions cannot serve as proof that she identifies herself as part of any group. She merely acted as a... Please do not mistake her actions as...
Really? As an individual, you say? Don't forget, we are all Fontanians here. This, even if Miss Navia only voluntarily rendered her assistance, that doesn't change the fact that her beautiful soul must return to everyone. Water accepts all, blends with all. Everything is measured here in the nation of Hydro. And in the end, Now I speak for everyone. Our opinion is consistent. Navia should stay.
And you would call this justice? Preposterous. Have you forgotten how much you all once longed to be—
Do you mean to defy our justice?
If your justice is flawed, then why should we acknowledge it?
As you said, we can also have our own justice. And that is how we will enforce.
My head.
Demoiselle.
Silver, it hurts. My head is spinning. I remember now. Everything that seemed odd from the Vicarina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen, and Mr. Giverny and Mrs. Burnett, who we met earlier. Even Malus and Silver. I don't want to admit it, but they're all dead.
Don't be afraid, and don't admit guilt. We will
Absurd! Who are you to say that she cannot be judged? We are the majority. Don't let them escape! We shall keep
Mr. Malus and Mr. Silver, must you be so stubborn? How could the two of you possibly hope to stand against the collective? Do not resist. This judgment is fair and just. Navia belongs to us. After all that happened, she should not be left alone in Poisson.
Заебись, окей.
What are you saying?
No more excuses!
She says we're jealous. Jealous? How could she possibly be an
What's with these people? Who's jealous of her?
She belongs to us!
Miss Navia.
Silence!
That's... Monsieur Neuvillette!
Such commotion is prohibited in the court. The accusations you just presented, the court will adjourn for the rest of the day. In this, I shall hear no objections from any
Our thanks, Monsieur Neuvillette.
Please leave with me, Miss Navia, while there is still time.
But...
Go on now, demoiselle. This is your only chance to leave this place. What, can't bear to leave us—
Malus.
My apologies. I couldn't resist making one little joke once I realized that this shall be our last goodbye.
Заплакала.
Malus. Silver.
Quickly, you must come now.
Goodbye, demoiselle.
Farewell.
Чё, кто на него лет придет? Что-то не
No,
так.
wait! Just a second!
Hey, Navia?
You're awake. Good.
I must have been dreaming. Malus and Silver were still alive, and they were...
It looks like you're all right.
Did all the sad feelings cause you to have a nightmare?
The ruins you were exploring suffered a cave-in. When I arrived, I found you falling toward the water. You were just about to be dissolved within, but I think I saw 2 Oceanids protecting you. It was only for a moment, perhaps even a fraction of a second. Were it not for their intervention, I would not have been able to rescue you before—
Wait, did you say Oceanids? You mean like what happened with Vache?
Perhaps those 2 Oceanids were the people you—
I always told them that they didn't have to protect me.
Please come with me.
Neuvillette, are you okay?
Oh, I am quite all right.
Why do you look so stiff all of a sudden? Oh, Paimon knows. You're the type who feels awkward when there's nothing to talk about.
I merely thought that we should give Navia some time to herself.
Huh? Why didn't you just say so then? Don't you think it's even more
I suppose so. Ah, Sigewin. I hope all is well with her these days. Her...
No way! Don't worry. She's doing fine down there. She's an
I see. Well, that is good. I have always worried that Sigewin would need a lot of time.
Oh, and the Duke also says hi. Even though Sigewin made him do that. He hopes that you haven't been overwhelmed by all that's happened.
Thank you. I have indeed been busy lately, and I also hope...
He still doesn't know what to talk about. Let's chat about... So, Neverlet.
Yes, of course.
This isn't going anywhere. Let's try something...
Yes, in fact. I had arranged to meet you in Poisson, but when I arrived, I discovered that the Fatui were helping the residents evacuate. They had even... Amid my astonishment, I ran into the knave, and we had a chat. She informed me that she had...
Yeah, we originally planned to meet up with you, but we thought you might still be busy with all those official documents. We didn't think exploring the ruin...
I'm sorry to have kept you all waiting like that. I'm feeling much better now. I guess we should get going again. Will you come with us, Monsieur Neuvillette?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind my company.
All right! Another one joins the party! Let's get going then!
Летайте мне не вылетно. Мне так, блядь, только и сформировалось. Дома ко мне пришли. Привет.
I see everything!
Блять, что и тут падает, что ли? Банный рот. Сука. Yes. Ну, походу реально надо старый отряд взять, почему-то, мне кажется.
Let's change tactics.
Да блин.
Everyone hold hands.
А тут я походу умру.
Everyone hold here.
Let's get it on!
Что это такое? Куб какой-то. Куб. Супа. Спиздили. Сундук есть. Сундук. Сундука нет.
The show begins. Looks like we've reached the end.
This is the place? There should not be any other hidden spaces in the...
The path sure had some twists and turns, but it turns out that this place isn't actually that big.
Ну, пророчество, да?
Slates. It seems like they were put here as an offering.
Perhaps we should just leave them be for now.
Вот, если не ошибаюсь, пророчество, которое говорили.
There are 4 locations in total, but only 3 stone slates. The slate that should be in the first empty spot is missing.
The surrounding walls also show signs of...
There's something written below. Let Paimon see. Reason dictates that this nation be destroyed.
It feels like someone left these slates and these words here for a purpose. But does he mean that Fontaine should be destroyed?
Интересно, почему?
That would fit the circumstances dictated by the prophecy, yes. Indeed, the slate's contents correspond...
There's a person kneeling here. She seems so dedicated. And there's a whole bunch of other people behind her doing the same.
Истинная.
And is that Lady Farina in the third image? Did the Hydro Archon fall into the water?
And is that a ring of people around her?
The fourth image. I know this one. This exactly matches the content of the prophecy.
The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne.
И что это было?
More information should be hidden in these slates, but I fear I cannot easily uncover it.
Don't blame yourself, Monsieur Neuvillette. Deciphering ancient stone slates isn't one of your...
Ooh, Paimon's getting the chills just look. This says that it's the history of the future, right? That means the
I really hope it doesn't mean...
Still, Paimon feels like these
That's right! If the images are in chronological order, shouldn't the fourth, the waters drowning Fontaine, come before the third, where the Hydro Archon herself falls into the water?
And yet the order is reversed here.
If we go by timing, Lady Farina only emerges in the third image. That means that the person in the second image might be the previous Hydro Archon.
Egeria, then. I had never met her, but her appearance here does... The previous Archon kneeling before the floating island in the skies, as if confessing a sin.
Did she herself commit that sin? And also, I'm still wondering why these ancient stone slates are here at all. Judging from their contents...
But who would have created these slates and left these words here?
It seems that any further clues will have to come from Farina.
In that case, there's no time to lose. There's nothing else to be gained here.
Yeah, we better get somewhere safe for now.
Ну да. Это здесь полный пиздец. Ну да. Потому что если она наоборот будет, то это, в принципе, не так уж страшно. Страшно. Так, ну врагов не было таких сильных, потому что, в принципе... Окей. Блин, куда четвертая спиздилась, интересно. Я хочу это заскриншотить, мне нравится. Скриншотим. Себе просто на заметку сделаю. Может пригодится, хотя отлично нет, конечно. Вот, все сфоткал. Ну, выглядит как будто наоборот, типа, сначала это, потом это, и так далее, типа. Сундук же будет, да, сундук будет. Вот. Скоро мне будет 60 ранг приключения. Ну, окей. Больше ничего тут нету. Выходим.
Let's split up here. I'm going to check on what's happening with the Spina. You know how it is. There's some things you just need to...
You still have energy for that, Navia? Paimon's already beat.
Just head back to the Fluvsandra and have a rest then.
I'll depart as well. Thanks for your hard work today. Traveler, I will go talk to Farina tomorrow morning to ask about the stone slates. I'm sure that you're concerned about this matter as well. If you have time, drop by my office.
Are you really gonna talk to her about this directly? Will that be a problem?
She has long been harboring secrets and will not give them up easily, which makes it all the more my duty to ensure that she understands the present situation.
Alright, we'll leave it in your hands then.
I will be carefully considering my words tonight.
Traveler, Paimon, our safe house at the Fluvsandra is always open to you as a... Alright, I'll be...
Все, съебался.
Welcome back. We've got a special menu prepared for you two tonight.
Yay! And there's good food too! Navi, no. Ooh, desserts! Nice! Paimon's already starting to forget what happened today.
Какие люди?
Oh, that voice. Is that who I think it is?
Huh?
Mona.
It's you two. What are you doing in Fontaine?
Mona?
Seriously, nobody just uses a scry glass whenever they've got time.
Still, we didn't expect to see you here. Wait, you're not a Fontaine.
Well, I have some business to attend to here, so I booked a hotel in the city. I was just out for a stroll. Why did you think I was from Fontaine, though? Is that because Magistus doesn't sound much like a Mondstadt surname?
Yeah, let's go with it.
Well, I used to have my own surname, which was, well, some other thing. Either way, the old hag told me when she took me, there was nothing for it, really. She really is amazing at astrology, so I changed my name to what it is now according to her wishes.
It isn't?
Nope. Although it is used by us in place of surnames, it generally just means great.
Wow! Imagine including a boast.
I reckon so. In any case, I'd give my disciple a name like this as well, if I were to take one. Astromancer Barbeloth Trismegistus.
Ёпт, нихуя.
Whoa, that's a long one.
My name means Mona the Great Astrologist. As for the old hag, hers is, in plain speech, the thrice-as-great Scholar of the Stars.
Thrice as great? That's so...
I know, right? That's just how she is. She used to call herself Magistus, actually.
Talk about excessive.
Magistus is thus the calling card of our school, so to speak, which makes it about the same as a surname. It's all right if you don't get it. You can look into it further should you need to study astrology more deep.
That sounds terrible! Ugh. But anyway, you're not Fontanian, are you, Mona? You're from
Well, I was born in Mondstadt, yes. My parents migrated to Dornman Port, and I traveled with the old hag for a while.
Oh, that's a good thing then. At least we know you.
Speaking of that, I'm sure you're aware that a bunch of things have happened here in Fontaine, right? I know you're not a local, but there's something ominous about it. Well, the water, I mean. That was the main reason, yes. Just a while back, the Steambird, the invitation was sent quite early on. I don't think anyone...
What do you make of that prophecy, Mona? Just tell us what you think as an astrologist. Your word would go a long way to make things more certain.
What I can tell you is that I'm an astrologist, and that this prophecy concerns the fate of I'm afraid that this is not something that just anyone can do. If I could do it, you would no longer call... But on the flip side, the prophecy is so huge and powerful that it must surely come from a powerful
visionary? Sounds really powerful and all.
Of course. The old hag could do it. And I bet there are others amongst those Hexenzirkel colleagues of hers who could do some... are you sure? All right, I'll help you. It isn't often that I see you with such...
Thanks, Mona! You're amazing as always!
Oh, well, this is some...
That's the greatest of astrologists for you! Of all the people...
Indeed. That's the spirit.
Oh, sorry. I came to see what all the commotion was about. If there's anything...
Oh, whoops. Guess we were getting a little too carried away there. Well, I'll go tend to my own business now.
And there she goes, quick as rushing water. And here we are with the Spina guy giving us suspicious looks. If Paimon hadn't spoken for you, it'd be you getting all the weird... that's more like it. Good morning. To be honest, Paimon's still feeling kind of sleepy. But it's time to get up, traveler. We agreed to go see Neuvillette, so let's pack.
Не понял, чё. Окей. Ранг, блядь, 60 ранг. Спустя сколько, блядь? 3-4, блядь. Вот, конечно. С самого начала подтягиваю. Похилить. Надо похилиться. Так, ну буквально еще 20 минут снимаю видео и заканчиваю. Потом еще раз где-нибудь часик столько, и в принципе сюжетка почти закончена, скорее всего. Потому что хуй поймешь, как закончится сюжетка. У людей то 4 часа, то 6 часов они проходят сюжетку. Так что да. А что случилось?
Is something wrong?
Monsieur Neuvillette and Lady Farina, they seem to have gotten into a dispute. Please.
А что за пиздец там происходит? Ничего же они там.
Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. There is little space for excuses between us. It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. You are the Hydro Archon Focalor, are you not? Look at this. This is a list of the victims from the recent Poisson incident.
You mean... they're all...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster. And I will not have it. I will say this once more. You must tell me everything you know. Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near Poisson. Do you know anything about those?
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't know, but you found them in some ancient...
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The other 3 featured different images that seemed to correlate to the prophet.
The prophecy?
The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky, as if confessing something. Do you...
I don't. I've never seen such
I'll ask you again. Do you really have no information regarding the previous Archon? My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for...
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. Is it really so strange that I know nothing?
Ну, может, потому что ты Архон, блядь, и должна все знать, нахуй, о прошлом, по крайней мере, своем.
I understand your concerns, but I'm sorry. I just...
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Farina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations into certain matters. There are several indications that you have been investigating the prophecy on the This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you should also claim to not know any... You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool. And yet, your behavior is very inconsistent.
So you've been watching me all this time?
You...
Well, since you know about my secret investigations, then you should know I'm actually... There's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. You should be following my lead. Just trust in me. You're Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. It'll all turn out fine. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss this matter again. Oh, the opera's about to start. Toodle!
И съебалась.
Did Farina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her. She was smiling. Huh. She didn't seem in the mood to...
I assume you've been outside for a while now?
Oh! You noticed! Seems for...
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again. A state of affairs. Still, I do not understand. Dialogue is the basis for understanding, so what... Everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. The issue is her attitude. I fear we may have to create a situation in which she will have no choice but to...
Oh? Like what?
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial. Perhaps we must have the Hydro Archon experience just...
But Farina's seen so many trials, and she's really good at dodging questions. How do we make sure that she won't just slip away at the first chance she gets?
Ну, чтоб людей, наверное, не было во всем этом.
We will need to consider this thoroughly, join forces with various parties, and then do what...
Просто людей сказать, чтобы они на улицах не ходили, и все, Альфреда сразу пистолет ставил.
If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but we must prevent the prophecy from... This may be cruel to her, but all Fontaine is in crisis. The information a god possesses is too precious, and so we... But who will lend us their aid to...
Орликини, что ли, наверное. Больше нет, скорее всего. Нави, Орликини. Больше не помню, кто мы еще
That's everyone, huh? Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing.
That's what family should do. Sit.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me?
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in court.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things. Wonderful, the spot...
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, the Traveler, has brought us together to discuss something. As for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts together to create a series of traps.
Oh, how intriguing.
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Chlorand, and used on the spot.
Huh? Didn't you say that you would be facilitating this?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance.
I see. And what does my boss say?
He is glad that you consider him your boss.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette,
I've also gone diving.
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host to, though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters left behind by the ancient. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society. Taking up arm, a trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now...
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and rabbits will see the Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of the best in the industry, so...
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even performed some magic for the ball.
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods, like...
Calm and steady.
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some small clockwork squirrels, mice, and such. When placed in the... I remember that you liked those too, didn't you?
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it. If they're realistic enough. And...
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any
That makes sense. You usually solve problems directly, but I do have one more question for you, Monsieur. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey. A more gentle...
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change the If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and...
Wait, why's that?
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it.
So...
We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunting... But we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god.
Oh, so that's what's going on.
Так, наверное, чуть посидим, ну, сейчас поболтаем с кем-то, и закончим. Будет вторая часть, дальше будет остальные части.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? So much has been happening. Paimon didn't think the meetings would go on for so long, but Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just, it's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Did you just pour some tea? Paimon didn't notice you doing that at all. Then what's that? Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea.
Who's that voice?
Ah, have you forgotten me?
Wait, you are familiar. You're the voice...
The voice from the sky, Huh. You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion. Consider me a passerby, just accepting a commission from my... The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesized will be fulfilled.
What? Then...
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be changed? Ah, so you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the god's gaze does not fall? Are the things that you shall see different from the fate?
What is she talking about?
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide. This was good tea, by the way. Thank you for your hospitality.
The voice. Alright, coming! Hey, it's you who's getting lazy, okay?
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively band.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. I went to take part in that Not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that sitting around and waiting for the end to come would be wrong, and that they should make their own rescue prep.
Did she have pink hair by...
Why, yes! It was Charlotte. You remember her, right? That I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very important, but how can people...
That's right! Paimon's glad to hear something sensible.
Yes. About what we had discussed before. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't reach the old hag. I'll try again tonight, but... Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold, if you ask.
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N's sense of direction is but I've never met her. And if she were still alive, she'd be...
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group.
But their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything she said.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to perhaps it is something that you cannot know. Traveler, Paimon? Are you...
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right now.
I see. I feel that same sense. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. But even so, I still hope for and believe in. Perhaps that's what N was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart. I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't. Even if...
You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. Sorry about that. It was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I suppose that might be why we always...
Paimon feels kind of moved by what Mona said. Hey, Traveler. Paimon suddenly feels like going... Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk.
Я вот даже догадываюсь, кто это за... Ну, из ведьминых шляп или как-то малых. Я, походу, даже догадываюсь, кто. Если это, конечно, не она, то, в принципе, ладно. Так. Когда был стрим, типа, про, ну, эту версию 1.2, там вроде кто-то уже был, скорее всего. Может, это она, но вряд ли, конечно. Потому что, если не ошибаюсь, она была наставницей порталей, а не этой. Так что, может быть, мне кажется, даже она может не только быть наставницей порталей, но еще и этим. Это мое предупреждение. Предположение.
What's going on? Let Paimon see. The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its noble autonomy. My recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report? A blonde adventurer with their white fairy, legends trailing in their wake. It is said that this So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, do not fear, for the tales of the Traveler, journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet, the Traveler's Trail, World Walker. Charlotte took so many awesome photos of us and she hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find, she's using... Seriously? Well, fine. Those headlines and photos do look...
Куда ее?
Paimon's hungry. Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition, only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it! Despite the tense situation we were in, let's give it another go, Paimon!
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Nervalette was right.
Wait, did he really say something like...
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my...
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't get to eat cake here?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but... maybe...
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No. Still, even if there'd be no more... No. It's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call...
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily. Yes, and you can only lift their spirit. I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good...
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon's sure this... It's more delicious than last time! And the flavor gets even better with this... Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious food here. Charlotte and have a chat.
Charlotte.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon! Oh, have you seen the article I wrote about you?
Ha! You've got some nerve! You just used us to make some quick...
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to discuss... It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the table with some...
Really? Oh, yeah, that!
You're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were a journalist with ulterior motives, you'd be in trouble now.
Oh, Paimon knows you're not like that.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden? Were you looking for me?
When Mona mentioned you, we thought of coming to see you at work.
I see. It seems you've already bumped into Mona here. So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real daredevil of a...
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an exclusive interview with the
Huh? So your article in the paper today...
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to talk about the things you've seen.
Yeah, are we even qualified?
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it. But not right now, of course.
Oh, in that case, we'll just chat with...
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief. Ooh, so much to get done now. Talk to you...
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example, Fontaine were to be flooded tomorrow?
Huh. That's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear about it often. If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a duty. From what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, so in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still successfully finish and then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and use messenger pigeons to get I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic. But I do love my job. And I'd be proud of leaving such... But anyway, that's my answer. And on that note, I'll get...
That's so nice. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing Paimon's been thinking. If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Tevat that would be destroyed tomorrow. No, Paimon should ask if you could... We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much time thinking about these kinds of things. We didn't... You mean, still traveling? Huh. Wait, is... Feels like you'll grow mold if you stay. But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure. It's not a...
Ah, so the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermonia, aren't you?
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nervillat sent me to look for you two before. I heard that afterward you went to the Fortress of Mirapede. Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Actually, I'm here to pass along a... Yes, inside the Opera House. The Maréchaussée Phantom has declared...
A riot?
Well, that said, I don't personally think it was that serious. Lady Farina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and while she was resting during an intermission, some other audience members suddenly started loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the prophecy crisis. And before she could respond, others started to join in. The crowd continued to grow, and protests against the Hydro Archon started to break out.
Yes.
So people have started to put the blame on Farina. Guess they finally found an outlet for the pressure they've been under due to the prophecy.
I agree. People will naturally rely on gods, as is customary. But the moment people feel threatened, gods are also the first to be blamed.
So what happened after that? Is Farina okay?
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument was pointless, she claimed that she'd gotten... The Marechaussee Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch where Lady Farina had gone. Only when things had stabilized did we...
So, you mean she's still missing?
That's right. The Marechaussee has dispatched many people to search for her. That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She is a god, after all. Even if she were to fall into the hands of rioters, what could ordinary people do to her? Good. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to tell you about the situation.
Don't worry, this is more than enough to...
Ah, is that so? Well...
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Farina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. Instead, she'll look for... And, as we also know, she may be loud and dramatic, but she doesn't have a heart of... When Nervillet was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, and she heard about Poisson, it would be hard for her to ignore being accused by the public today. Paimon thinks Farina's probably taken the opportunity to slip away to Poisson. Huh. Well, what do you think? Paimon knows the answer, of course, but Paimon can do the analysis to back it up, too. Cool, huh? In that case, there's not a moment to lose.
Так, давайте уж закончим на этом. Закончим в следующей серии, наверное. Сколько там будет у меня еще. Так что увидимся в следующей серии. Пока-пока. Так, ну что ж, осталось еще, скорее всего, где-то часик с чем-то, наверное, два. Так, ну я сейчас отключусь, так что... Да. Рекламная пауза, можно сказать.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
Finally
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
Так, ну что ж. Судный день. Так. Давайте где-нибудь.
This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible.
Так, ну что ж, всем привет. Мы продолжаем проходить основной сюжет Genshin. Скорее всего, это будет последняя серия, но неизвестно. Так что да, приступим. Как я... А, вот и...
That's Farina, right over there. She really is here all...
Should I just give up? This is all what was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Farina. There's no point. No. I'm sorry. But what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless apologies over? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. It's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land.
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you?
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were? Disturbed they even dare to tout their Archon? I must teach them a lesson. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marsh Chaussee Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too. Of course.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line because they haven't been able to meet me in person, aren't they?
Да, конечно.
That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Farina just ran off. Quick, we have to catch up with her.
Да. Побежали. Давайте тогда вот они. Испарились. Как всегда. А, блять.
This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the rest of...
What?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted.
Я вообще разумно, видите меня, сука. Да, ты разумная, прям. Прикрываешь, блядь, свои колени. Ух ты, еба. Прикольное место.
No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed.
You're right. Yep, that's a good girl.
Походу снова будет это.
What's happening? The ground's shaking.
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding and...
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Neverlette's made some emergency plans, so the evacuate...
Yeah. I hope that the people of Poisson, they've already... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of... I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will... give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally, indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times. Especially at fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no, but just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't, as long as the final moment hasn't come, don't worry. I will keep hope alive for every... Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims of trivial prophecy?
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, if...
Ни хрена себе магия, блядь. Это я
Ladies
понимаю.
and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
Нихуя себе. Вот это начало.
So, this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took. Do not forget, however, that I am Fosalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of...
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god?
like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She...
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the...
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate I will admit that I've been running away for a long... I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon. Farina, will use this trial to show the world the truth. This time, I applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to... Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine! The trial of the Hydra... Woohoo!
Oh, now we're making history. Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this serious...
All right, then. Who will be my...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial, just how much work did you do to force me onto this?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely... So, we arranged for a second.
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the set...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epic, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Arenes. Was an Archon instead of... My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an...
You're welcome.
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a...
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a...
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion...
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived on... Oh? that so? It's fine. It matters not. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the...
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceeding.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the exclusive interview that Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened ever since. So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. This is the first time Monsieur Neuvillette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Even the Hydro Archon can't figure a Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a single day. According to Monsieur Neuvillette, both Child and that whale should have been in the primordial sea at that time. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers. The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Neuvillette. But just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress, of course. It is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the action.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking our duty, but...
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no... See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making...
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn...
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, and if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
Ничего не знаю.
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And
who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble, but in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervalet?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell you.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying... Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can... For centuries, manifestations of my authority have... One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house. Or consider the end...
You tried to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared—
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are natural—
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstance. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold
I never thought you'd use that kind—
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated—
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned—
The real Hydro Archon. Well, now you're It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice— But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. And you can't argue that just because a divine creation is—
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary—
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection.
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield—
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy—
Isn't that...
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god—
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's
Hey, come now, everyone! Please don't— I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one, please.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a—
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our aunts?
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can—
Wow, she came up with yet another argument!
Сколько это?
That doesn't sound right.
Окей. Это тоже, наверное, нет. Это что-то.
It has been established that all Fontanians can.
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in...
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear now. I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my... So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Which...
Все, пизда.
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution, as it falls outside the realm of
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is...
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon.
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and
Siegewin? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina, you may...
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that...
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of this. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, we don't want anyone else to lose their life.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked... It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina could have...
I can't believe... You... Listen to me, everyone. Please don't give me such cold and disdainful look. Think about it. How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't? Also, if I was really just a human, why would... Please, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just...
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's too stacked against her now.
Где она?
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is guilty.
Да,
We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal to render the final verdict on the charges.
да.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty. To be punished via the death sentence.
Нихуя себе.
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just...
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the serious...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fache wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also... But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon.
Она гидрофонд или нет, блять? Интересно. Пиздец какой-то, конечно.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! Oh, you finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission, Father.
Is that the first prophecy slate?
Что это?
Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded? Then... doesn't that mean I've come too late?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left.
Я походу понял. Типа гидроархот настоящий сделал обычного человека себе типа помощник. И помощник, скорее всего, так понял, это Фомин. Так что, по сути, она скорее, если это так, то по сути Фомина все-таки гидроархот, если это все-таки это пророчество.
Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates. We'd like you to come.
Мне кажется, так должно работать. Типа главный архонт.
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Подожди, типа... Ох, ёпта. То есть раньше был Фонтейн, типа, из океанидов. Но гидроархонт их делал обычными людьми. Но они, типа, не обычные люди, а наполовину океанид, наполовину человек. Походу.
Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydro Archon. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kind of...
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall all the contents of the other 3 stone slates.
Ты поймешь, что будет происходить. Выберите последнее.
The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power. Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro Archon sin are the same thing? The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was...
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontaine and the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon. This might be the reason that Fontanians can dissolve.
Ну тут хз.
Doesn't sound quite...
Окей. Да я чё ебу, блядь? Да похуй, Вилсон. Вилсон, на.
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalet mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia. It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, the stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing? The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause... If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone...
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea, but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the... The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her conscience. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truths should come to light. Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now, but then it feels like...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny,
We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their base. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater. And how all the... Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the opera.
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already... However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional... When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded with...
Так, и что же мы узнали?
Well?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try... Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to be... However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not want to give in. She eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would... Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
Вот эта история, это хуй, мне даже нравится.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human
Это
beings?
неожиданно.
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
Ну, по сути, да, это как-то тупо, блядь. Нихуя тогда ее винить.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian, but...
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of Trials and Justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes... You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by... Therefore, the meaning of that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice.
За что? То, что она это сделала, зачем?
Yes, it refers to our...
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as...
What should we do?
No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be... As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the...
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the...
Нихуя себе экшен.
How did that thing just burst into the opera house? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it is chosen. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the... And once it has finished consuming all of the energy
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial sea...
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it is even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim up.
That's not something I will We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle...
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance should...
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina!
No, I still need answers.
Что за пиздец? Бля. Типа казнь такая, блин. Веселая, как всегда. То есть это не Фурина?
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
Ты чё, как с Нахидой, типа, блядь? Две Архонта, блядь, типа, в одной, что ли?
You are not Farina. Who are you?
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success.
Fusalo. Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too. The heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be... One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria, for she knew full well that the prophecy would sure. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor.
Блять, или пойму. Если гений, так... Блять, вообще запутано нахуй. Так Вакалорос, блять, это Фурина или... Блять, хуй поебешь.
Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duty... But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this. Anymore.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina.
То есть Фурин это все-таки Архонт. Ну только можно сказать, нихуя не Архонт, но Архонт. Ой, блядь, хуй запутано.
She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the...
То есть вот почему он так долго живет.
Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful.
Что, сейчас будет казнь, что ли? Даже интересно делать. Что станет с Фуриной? Фарида, как всегда. Ох, как весело. Сидит висел. Блять, я же яйцо. Сука. Забраться же нельзя, да? Нельзя. Лестница. А, это прожектор, я думаю, получит. Да.
Oh, who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from... Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must at all...
Там написано погасить свет. Ну да.
Dear audience,
Что?
the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Что-то мне кажется, я не выживу.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Waste to the wicked!
Minute to memory. Everyone hold hands.
Strike them up!
Let's stay free a little.
Блять, если я с котом буду пиздиться, то у меня же слабая фурина, что ждет? Мне, скорее всего, придется менять отряд. А, блять, типа на выступление. А, нельзя ничего делать, да?
Farina.
Это Локалорс, наверное, разговаривается.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid.
Да.
I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be?
А, она даже выше, чем Локал. Ой, блять, фу.
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad.
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
Так у них еще и глаза даже разные, блять, типа на другом углу.
The
Ну,
prophecy.
стороне, типа.
Have you heard?
What prophecy? Wait. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon.
Oh.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember.
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian.
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. As for the suffering, well, but if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other, is it not obvious?
You truly are the perfect human. My ideal. I suppose this would also be the justice that... thing. Listen well. I need you to
play as...
That's right. Begin a never-ending... If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying...
But how will I do this? A human assuming the...
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply... Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an... Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity.
I'm still not sure I understand. So, how long am I going
to accomplish this mission? You will have to stay on the stage for many, but I promise you, all will of
a trial. Huh. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession. But what should I say to most appear like a god? To be... Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am in truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god. But it will be my honor as the god Focalor, the god of justice. I shall do all within my... Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, this should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the difference?
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play the role. Calm down, Farina. Think. Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. Oh, now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage. Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut. Now then, let us be
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside?
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful. Our future may yet be bright after all.
Да, очень хорошая, блять, конечно, с пророчеством.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, we have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most fragrant when it blooms. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long...
Да. О, бегать можно.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking for.
If I may be so impertinent, what—
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial.
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your...
То есть сам Архонтов того ждал.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of... Oh, I'm afraid that... All right. Deoteria, is it? How is your...
You remembered me. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again...
You're such a gentle and wise god.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked...
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect this. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also...
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found any...
Oh, is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has The day is finally over. I haven't, but it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep... All right, Farina, don't...
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already.
Lady Farina, I've waited so long.
Indeed, my dear loyal citizen.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me...
То есть ей уже это заебало.
I don't think I let anything slip today. I must
Это
show
как
the people that there is nothing to worry about.
Это как с Тахидой, походу, было. Такая, по-моему, история была.
I just don't know when I feel utterly exhausted.
Ну да, как с Тахидой, только по-другому. Пиздец.
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Dioter.
And what a fine family yours is indeed.
Surely.
What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Все.
Uh-huh. Really now? This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the...
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh,
so interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. I never imagined. But have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. All I can do is keep heart. I must.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people are more...
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in someone. Just share it with me.
A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show... If... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected... No, Farina. You should... But what if... Farina, you've worked so hard for so... Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find... If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am free. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance.
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Да, пиздец.
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these it seems that trusting humanity was.
I believe that I understand how your deception works. How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine?
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple.
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Linny did mention that he heard a human. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem. Alas, your understanding of this. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice. Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose? My work over these last 500 years has. But really, some have already discovered that only a small the vast majority has been. Had to be.
It was all a part of your plan, then?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archons.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne, if I do not misunderstand.
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But...
No,
Она сейчас саму.
Getting sad again, are we?
Что, она ему вернет этот
The
бог,
authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
all you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly. Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principle stole the power you ancient dragons possess. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontaine. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's. At this point, we, whether it be Iudex Nervillet, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel that you are a devious one, Focalor. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
Пиздец. Чё, что будут казнить? Да.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervalette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
I, Eudex Nouvelette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
Да, пиздец.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume—
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that—
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come.
Да. Блять, дайте поменять этот отряд, дайте поменять. Блять, лучше бы мне отряд поменять.
How are you going to do that? It's huge!
I've already done my best to separate the power of the primordials. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless I can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon. I shall look for an opening together.
Я ему, бля, даже ничего не делаю.
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. It can't represent itself.
Как же это эпично выглядит. А. Пиздец, звук. Нихуя себе звук. Что делать-то?
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Я его не убью, блять.
Witness the might of the primordial sea.
Блять, курсовский музон не могу. Куда? Какой-то бустер.
With the cleanup. It should have been my job, but oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime.
Питомец кит, вот это я понимаю.
Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder.
That power.
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. It's just that he gave us the impression that she was, less talkative.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak.
But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal, so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring... That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk? I think you might have...
The point being...
Well, being that this pet almost just... So what sort of person is your master? Well, child's master's master. Wait, is that right?
Oh, right. So you don't know him. His name is Sertologi.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master is insufficiently famous.
The Foul?
Mundane slaves? Как он забыл?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary?
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names, but I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine-daughter.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person?
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into... In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly...
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Initiate emergency rescue! Hurry! Hey, lend a hand!
Receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong!
The prophecy was wrong.
Да я понимаю сюжет, блять.
The soil renewed. The Spina Rasula attacks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope is like seeing a small skyship winglet, boon or bane of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute, which your people always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve a miracle... Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Jurier and Navia? They sound like real big shots.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. With a disaster, the value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. We'll publish further reports and go into the stories behind those people. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship, while Navia is leading people in the reconstruction of their home. I'm sure that these stories...
Paimon's curious too! Wait a minute. Didn't we watch everything happen from start?
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me. You're the best incubators of news, if you haven't noticed.
Are you sure? Hasn't he turned you down several...
Oh, this time will be different. Come on! Let's head to Poisson first, and then make a trip to the fortress.
Куда? Так, ну сюжетка, наверное, скоро закончится, так что давайте быстренько заканчиваем. Ну да, сюжет, в отличие от других сюжеток, именно энергия в пиздец отличается. Мне нравится. О, Фатую. Да, Фатую играл.
Navia! Oh, it's you. What the...
Hey, we're just having a look around.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going here. Oh, the let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. He represented the Knave, and our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone, work is progressing nicely.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote last year about Fontaine's stray cat. But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not charity we're doing here. We just happen to
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible. Or would you be willing to feature as friendly neighbors?
That would be fine. Thanks.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials. It'll be another...
Huh? You're here?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's here in Poisson.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision makers.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before the duel?
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a better theme than...
Oh, I see you're the same as always. Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos of me. Or, of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the...
How did it go? Was it a good shot?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots.
Все началось. Фотканье.
All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news. Also, not to brag, but I'm pretty good at building connections. Who knows? I might eventually get. Wow, you really do have that never.
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Meripede.
Whoa, you're well informed.
That's a very complete.
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was, when did the fort... I told him that it was best not to speak too soon. There's no guarantee.
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them. In which case, I'll be making a... Stay safe now. And tell me if you hear anything...
Куда дальше? Дальше в этом. Ой, как же... Вот так все. Даже вниз.
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgic feel.
Looks like you've been missing us.
Dude, did you come all the way to the...
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom are...
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke. Thank you for consenting to my...
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of your interview. I trust you recall...
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to be so nervous. Miss Charlotte.
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear beside that of Miss...
Sir, please don't say things like...
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it. Might this interview...
No, I just... This is my friend.
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed the boat that brought about a miracle, the ark that saved the people. Why, you recreated a myth back there. Still, if I might ask, where's that flying ship now?
Huh. Looks like Charlotte's trying to get herself another...
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of our factory.
Really? Well, then in that case, could I have an interview with...
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take another photo of this...
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, two solo...
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help me have a look.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try...
Ah, Siegeween.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Why don't... Sure. Come on, Miss Siegeween. Over this way.
Huh? Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the front?
Same old, as you can see. Fontaine's undergone...
Other than that flying ship, I got a tad too much attention.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward the...
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you too should have your...
I'll just leave the spot. I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh? Anyway, regarding that Harbinger, I'm not sure you remember.
He sure did win them up.
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems fine.
Oh, actually, what about...
What change can there be? The fortress will keep chugging along. As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to the folks in...
Hey everyone, the photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day here.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next time?
Maybe. Who knows? I might write a story about the underwater factory next time. All right. Last stop, the docks.
Порт, тут. Да, тут. Так, давай-ка похилимся, ну просто. Я могу просто так вот сделать.
Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. Apparently, they've been at the docks
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte, too.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget is it?
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around...
Trick a friend? I wonder which of my friends...
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by I'll help?
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your contact, please?
You sure are working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our...
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later Fremine...
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins with the first step. He'll...
Lynette, could you come over? Miss Charlotte said...
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of everyone the moment she... Father says that you did a great deal during the latest events. She's very grateful for your contribution.
That's all right. We were more than happy to help.
Oh, I guess you haven't heard. After Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Nervillet opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's gnosis to her as a diplomatic gift.
A diplomatic gift? A gnosis?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. But when I thought it over, it could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to Fontaine and Poisson.
That's true, but this is a gnosis
I would agree, but I've also heard that it seems that Monsieur Nervillet...
so there's some reason for this, though.
I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself. Ah, yes, speaking of which, I did...
Isn't he real busy and stuff? But back to the topic. The gnosis was given to the knave, right?
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the recent disaster really did a number on it.
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of run-ins with the...
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the traveler by chance. Please do not pay my accomplice.
Are you going to take the gnosis back to...
That is our duty as Harbinger. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. Switching my masks is something I've always done. Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds. What good is honesty? As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision?
Сейчас будет давай фоткать.
Huh? Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are diplomatic channels I'll need to report to take a...
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like.
I will.
The sea breeze is quite pleasant.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon, you take one too.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I was giving out magic pockets when we first met too. I guess this must be life. We will all follow our own... All right then. We'll be handing out pockets in some other district.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte off. She'll
Скорее всего, видео затянется на несколько часов, на минут дольше. Ну, все равно ничего страшного, думаю, будет такого. Смогу. Долго, в принципе, будет видео. Ну, пофиг, в принципе. Страшного ничего не будет. Все равно людей не так много посмотрят видео, если будут смотреть, конечно. Так, а мне куда? За здание или, блядь? Почему мне отслеживать нету? Отслеживать цель. Да, сюда надо.
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. He took the time to greet me early. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out to you to set up a meeting.
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remembered. Thank you for keeping us on your mind. Well, alright, let's have it then. How was Fontaine actually saved?
It is strange how words can often leave a bit...
Whoa. So that's what happened? Focalord destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you, transforming you into a fully... But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the...
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute control over the hydro element. Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea, with constitutions similar to that of but so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer be dissolved by water from the primordial sea.
Focalord must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come true while saving everyone. Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, Focalord finally managed to fulfill the original Hydro
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the knave as a diplomatic gift or something!
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers have indeed done much for us during this crisis. Their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would see the Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more. As such, it has lost all meaning for Fontaine. If the Fatui have impure designs, then we might as well accede to their request now, and avoid unnecessary conflict.
What complicated considerations? Paimon thought you were just giving it to them.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm when he was young. But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause of the disaster. As for the judgment passed by the Oratrice during the trial, whether it was due to that liability by association or Focalord deliberately using him to buy time for us...
Guess Focalord had Fontanians in mind the whole time. In the end, it was thanks to her that they finally... hang on a second. Paimon suddenly got it back when Fontanians hadn't yet become real humans. Were the children they...
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall how
Yeah! Lynette said the fountain is where all the waters in Fontaine converge.
In truth, even those couples did not know that those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would...
Paimon sorta gets it.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume? I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so all I can do is tell. As far as I'm aware, Natlan can be said to be a nation of dragons.
Прикольно.
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome there. Unlike ancient dragons such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years of development and evolution. Large numbers of them have entered a form of... Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an undying flame. There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my the harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the endless ring of war.
Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer. Seriously,
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. In the meantime, ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Так, ну давайте последнее.
Yeah, about that. Risley said Farina has already left. What's that all about?
Ah, Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post of Hydro Archon and left affairs related to that title to me, before leaving the Opera House. I related Focalor's words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing that, she simply said that she was tired. Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the Opera House. Not unlike how an ordinary...
But she's still got a place...
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not want for food, clothing, board, or travel. In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. The wear and tear on her spirit will, of course, take time. But now that she no longer has to play the role of Focalor the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her burdens.
What about you then? What are your plans now that you've regained your full powers as the Hydro Dragon?
After Focalor passed on, the Oratrice also... This matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take over its role.
Looks like you're still considering stuff from the perspective of...
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this power, and this... As such, before I attend to my other responsibilities, I must first and foremost continue to serve Fontaine. Additionally, the Hydro Archon's departure has brought about another problem, which is that the Opera House shall no longer...
That's true. That power was derived from the people's faith and... Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city are all...
As I am now, I have full command over New Musia, and it can serve as a...
Wow. This ancient dragon...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
hang on a sec. Paimon's still... When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that your attitude towards giving away... We guessed that there might be some reason for it that only...
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. So regarding this specific issue, I was... In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on. You...
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here. I can finally catch the scent of your power. What it is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons. But with something very similar to a... I'm sure I've encountered something like this before.
I do not know what you speak.
Ah, of course. How could I... You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never heard of it.
Huh. According to your parlance, I believe it...
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her note, but I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Fowl, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess... Regardless, you should probably get rid of to live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bonds he...
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my...
This third descender you refer to, who are they?
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps if you're interested, though, I could ask him.
Next time. You believe...
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own, don't I?
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or not.
The remains of the third descender? So that's what the Gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces. How could they be a person's remains?
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play, that...
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is what...
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary risk.
Ну это походу старых, типа нынешних Архонтов, наверное. Скорее всего, прошлых Архонтов остатки остались. Может так.
I had guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not expect you to be. That means that the Gnosis, which are exceedingly element compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities. I wonder, does your body also possess similar properties?
Like being able to use elemental powers. No, let's not think about this stuff right now. It just feels comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this topic still feels like bad luck. Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of him.
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking.
Alright. Whatever the case, it seems like the crisis...
Yes. All of Focalor's efforts were for this.
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god, and she suffered through all those years as...
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds in the sky, life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. The water levels may... And what, ultimately, is the difference between the rains...
Надо тут идти. Так, ладно, давайте вот так вот делаем. Ну что ж, основная сюжетка закончилась. Если честно, я ожидал меньше вот этого сюжета. Но мне понравилось. Как в основном люди говорят, сюжетка в Фонтейне отличается намного прямо от предыдущих сюжетки, так что да, это пиздец. Наконец-то нормальная сюжетка в Genshin, можно сказать. Так что да. Увидимся, скорее всего, в ивенте или где-нибудь еще. Так что всем пока-пока и до скорых встреч. Так, ну что ж, сюжетку мы закончили. По сути, больше нечего делать тут. А стримить я вряд ли еще буду. Если только потом, когда будет что-то интересное. Это чем сказать?
It seems from your expressions that you still have... Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Ну все.
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before...
Фу. Ну что ж, всем пока-пока. Увидимся, ну, скорее всего, в ивенте. Так что до новых встреч.